Luxie, you wanted to talk about blackface, your favourite topic in the whole world. Tell us about it. Tell us more.
I wouldn't say it's my favourite topic in the whole world. No, it's just last week. I was, I think probably last Sunday, I was at home and I messed around my phone, and I came across an article on your favourite website, Dunny, where
you don't even mention it.
No. But it brought up an interesting story that I thought was peculiar, especially in this day and age. Of course, it's a very recent phenomenon. But Ant and Dec, the white poster boys of Christendom and housewives in England, were accused of possibly engaging in the term blackface due to a skit they did 15 years ago, and there were pictures up of the skit. It was a comedy skit, and I was kind of irked by the fact that it seems to be that any person of non-African descent is not allowed to portray a person of African descent in no matter what the context is. And I think in terms of dressing yourself up as someone else, the whole notion of intent has been completely removed from the equation. The intent now seems to be, if you're a non-African person dressing up as an African person, the only intent that you are trying to portray is racism. And it's a completely foolish notion, because I think I might have mentioned it before. Let's say if I had a daughter, and hopefully I will one day, in like 6 years time, she says to me around Halloween time, Daddy, I want to dress up as Rihanna, or I want to dress up as Beyonce. I go, great, but you're not allowed to. And she asks me why, and I have to somehow explain to her why she's not allowed to dress up as someone that she adores and that she loves. If that's her intent, why should that not be allowed to happen? But in this day and age, I just seem to find example after example of blackface being used to deter someone or portray them as being racist when they're not, because the intent is clearly anything other but racist. And it's just something I saw last Sunday, and I don't see a stop to it. There should always be room for discussion about racism, but there's just countless examples that I just don't see as being racist.
Yeah. Sorry, Sean, you want to come in there on that?
I think we discussed this privately, but it's the notion of calling something like that blackface, whereas I think we have discussed it on an episode. I can't recall when, but blackface is not when you make your face look like it's a character. It's like a caricature of a black person. It's the really exaggerated lips, the eye makeup. It's a very the
gollywog sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which was clearly racist back in the day.
The black and white minstrels, or Al Jolston. That's blackface, and it was them imitating black people, because back in them days they wouldn't employ black people, but they tried to sort of take on some of the entertainers and stuff. But with the Ant and Dec one, they're dressing up like two old black women, right? It's not. It's certainly not blackface. Blackface is a very particular thing, right? It's. Do you remember what was it they doing on the Google? What was it? Gucci jumper.
Yeah,
that it was like a pull up. And now I've seen this. I kind of fell for this story because it looked ridiculous, but I had these big red lips, and the girl in it looked ridiculous. But turns out that Gucci line of style, or whatever you would want to call it, had loads of different colors. So they had blue, green, red, but people just say it on the black one because, look, we can make this, we can jump on this blackface bandwagon. And I don't want to veer away from the thing, but it's like that other guy. Do you remember we were talking about him, the guy in where was it, where he was having the electrical sale, Black Friday sale? That was completely harmless. I can't believe people fucking went in on that. But with Ant and Dec, it's just they're playing. I presume they were like Jamaican accented or whatever like that. They were playing.
Yeah.
It's not blackface. You might think it's tasteless or whatever like that. That's fine. It's perfectly okay to think that. But it isn't this racial makeup in that sense. Like, it is. It is technically you're dressing up as someone black, but it's like it's more makeup. It's more of a character. It's more of you're playing more of a character than anything else. And it's not. It's not.
Have you ever seen the movie Tropic Thunder?
Yes, I was going to mention Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually.
When he plays the black guy, and he stays in character the whole movie. Like the thoughts of that being done today, and like Tropic Thunder.
It's only about 10 years old.
Yeah,
it never come out.
It just shows you how much has changed, and he is incredibly funny in that movie. I've seen that movie a good few times. Anytime I see him portray a black person, it's just the complete exaggeration of the black stereotype that he portrays in the movie. That's hilarious, and it's funny that the other African American guy in the movie keeps saying you're racist. Like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's a really funny microcosm.
But it really cuts the line there between it.
Yeah,
that's why it's funny, But it's what was that film? White Chicks. The Wayne brothers.
Well, white chicks. I mean that stereotyping to young, rich white kids with white privilege.
Yeah, it's called cultural appropriation. If I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean, a massive issue I have with blackface. Look, as I said, is if somebody dresses up blackface, let's say, with a bunch of lads like in Ku Klux Klan thing, and you have a fucking rope around his neck, and I know we'll get to that in a second, Sean. But yeah, I'd say no. That's just fucking horrible, beyond tasteless. You know that is awful. But what I have a feeling is now is that the way we have moved, in the positive way society has moved, is that we have heroes now that are black, and we have. I remember being a kid, and I used to like the look of the band Eternal. Do you remember them with Louise Redmond and all that? And I remember I said something really sick. Now, this is me as a kid, and I turn around. Oh God, Liam Neeson moment coming up. But I remember I just this sort of when you're so impressionable as a kid, and I just turned around and said, "Oh God, I really fancy one off Eternal." I can't remember her name. She was the lead singer. Yeah. I said, "Oh, but that wouldn't be right, though, would it? For me?" I said this to my brother. That wouldn't be right for me to fancy a black lady. And my brother goes, "Why?" Well, it's wrong. I said, "No." Oh, okay. And that was it. that was my moment. And my brother goes, "No, don't be stupid. Of course you can. Like, she's a beautiful woman. Why wouldn't you? You know, if you like men, it's a beautiful man. Well, who gives a fuck? Beautiful woman's a beautiful woman. Same as a beautiful man's a beautiful man." And I thought, okay, so we're getting to that stage now where that's not such a come to Jesus moment. That's just the way it is. We have Mo Salah. We had the girl in Ireland who wanted to dress up as Mo Salah. Her mum did the makeup for her. She looked great. She was happy with it.
Exactly.
No one's going to tell me that's fucking racist. It was actually a really funny one. I must send it on to you. It's not funny, but it was just a girl in the 1990 World Cup, a little schoolgirl, and she dressed up as Paul McGrath. with the thing, yeah. Now that man is a fucking hero to Ireland, And it's just like, he's ours, he's Irish, even though he's born in Ealing. He's Irish, that's it. And fair play, like, he is a hero to Ireland. He wasn't even the first black player to play for Ireland. That was Chris Hughton. But this is where we're at. We have heroes, golfing heroes, Tiger Woods, this kind of stuff. And I think we're gonna marginalise it. Is that the right word? We're gonna, we have this buffer. No, you can't dress up as them or whatever because that's for us. Because that's racist if you do. I think people need to realize what's appreciation. What is looking up to somebody as a role model, and what is racism? Because they're two completely different things. But that's just my take on it, I suppose.
They are completely different things, but it's hard to be rational when you're having a discussion whereby people's default setting is hysteria.
Yeah.
Like you're on completely different polar opposites, and to bridge that gap requires a modicum of intelligence. And I think the majority of people that seem to be publicly offended by things are trying to nurture and validate their own low self-esteem. I don't think they're doing it for their own benefit. They're doing it to feed their own egos. And that often gets lost in the argument, outrage and offended. Look, you're an adult. You're going to be offended by something. But to completely derail and demean people by an accusation, by cheap accusation. And that's what these terms, blackface, and other terms are gonna come down to. It's gonna be a throwaway comment that could potentially be extremely harmful to people. That's why when I saw that article last week about Ant and Dec, I went, look, I'm not particularly a fan of these two lads, but one thing they are definitely not racist. And I just thought it was cheap and petty, and it's just dumb.
It's like they actually have a chimney sweep coming out like the face like, racist, blackface.
Yeah. So I remember in school, I went to Europe in school in Luxembourg, not France, Dunny.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah, around.
You just turn the flag on the side, and it's the French flag. There you go.
Yeah, but around Christmas time, the Danish would always celebrate Christmas a few weeks early. So what they used to do is the girls from the Danish section from throughout the years would dress up like in white dresses, and they'd have a candle, and they'd walk around the school just singing the song called Santa Lucia. It was great. But behind them, they'd have St. Nicholas, and they'd have his helpers. But the two helpers, now that I remember, were dressed up in Christmas attire, but their faces were painted black and their lips were painted red. And it's a carbon, like it would look like a gollywog, but that is a part of Danish culture. And there have never been any, as far as I'm aware, there was never a negative or racist intent anytime someone would dress up like that. It's just something that is carried on throughout the ages.
Yeah.
But if I were to see that today, I'd go, holy shit. But simply because I've been socially taught now that's not acceptable, there are historical examples of where there's never been offence caused by it. But that's just completely lost in the argument now.